Yo, what's going on, guys? Hanging Outdoors here. My name's Dimitri, back with another video. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. In today's video, we're going to be installing a tonneau cover on the truck, and this one's going to be a little different than what you're probably used to seeing on the channel. As much as I would love to be working on my boat today or shooting my boat today, I am on a little bit of a time crunch. We've been super busy around here, and I figured the tonneau cover, it's kind of related. It's a little outdoorsy. If you guys are carrying your bow around in your truck, you're probably going to want it out of sight, out of mind, so that it doesn't get stolen. They're a pretty big investment. So let's go ahead and get the tonneau cover installed and show you guys how to do that. Alright guys, so right off the bat, just while I'm getting this thing ready and prepping the truck, I just wanted to let you know the year. So this is a 2024 Chevy Silverado LT. The tonneau cover that I got is a Tonneau Pro low profile tonneau cover. So there are a couple reasons why you might want to install a tonneau cover. Number one, obviously out of sight, out of mind. It actually helps with gas mileage too, because when you don't have anything covering the bed of the truck, the wind will come right over the top of the truck and hit the tailgate, and it almost acts like a parachute in the back of your truck, and it can like slow you down, and it can cause you to lose a little bit of gas mileage. We're gonna get this thing open. I'm going to take the rails out of the box. I might actually show you a little bit of the unboxing process too, and then we'll go ahead and show you how to mount the rails onto the side of the bed here. Alright guys, let's do a little bit of unboxing. Now I already opened the box to make sure that it was obviously the right tonneau cover and that it would fit my truck, and I made sure that all the parts were here. But what we're looking for is to get the rails. There's going to be two rails that go along the sides of the bed, and then there's going to be the main roll of the tarp that is what goes up against the glass or the cab of the truck. So I'm going to go ahead and get this out, then I'm going to place them in the bed where they have to go, and then we'll get to clamping these things on. This rail has the little lever latch, and I believe that this goes on the driver's side. Then we have this side here that has no latch but the hook. This goes on the passenger side. I forgot how hard it was to record outside. There's so much noise that goes on. Alright, so this is the tarp side, and then as you can see here, there's like this little hook area, and then the straps that come over and hook it. This is what's going to go up against the cab. So we'll go ahead and get this in place now. And now all that we should have left is just the hardware. So I got some foam pads here, and then I have the little adjustments for setting how tight the tonneau cover is. I'll put this off to the side. And then we have all the clamps here ready to go with the bolts already in them. We'll go ahead and get these in the truck because we're going to need these first. Alright guys, so sorry it is a bit sunny in this corner over here. I have the sun directly above me actually. But we're going to get our sockets out because we're going to need a socket set for this. And then I'm not really one for directions, but sometimes these tonneau covers, they all have like a little bit of a different suggestion and instructions for you to follow. So I'm going to go ahead and go through them and just see what it wants, and we'll get back to you when we have figured out what side we're going to start with first and how we're meant to do it. So I'll be right back. Alright guys, so after reading the instructions, there are these little foam weather stripping seals that we actually have to stick onto the ends of the rails here so that they seal up against the bed. So we'll go ahead and do that now. There is a driver's side one and a passenger one. So we're going to take these off, and then they're meant to go just like that. They kind of peel and stick. So we're going to go ahead and do that to both sides here. Alright guys, so now I have to jump up in the bed and close the tailgate. We have to set it up so that the seals that we install, those little foam seals, are slightly compressed up against the tailgate. And that just helps keep some of the rainwater out. So the key is to have this angled portion where the Velcro is, where the vinyl will come over and Velcro down. You want to have that angled section kind of in line with the bed cap, and then you want to push the rails toward the tailgate so that the foam is slightly compressed. And then we can go ahead and get one of our clamps on. There's like inside the bed, there's like a little angled portion that comes out and then jogs in where the strap down hooks are, and that is where you want to kind of put your first clamp. You'll be able to feel where there's a flat spot in there. Okay, that's clamp number one. The next one is supposed to, and clamp number one just fell off. I'm gonna throw the second clamp on here in the middle. You'll be able to feel there's like flat spots and then some where there's like a little bit of divots. I'm just gonna kind of go one right there, there's one right there, so I'll put one right here. What I like to do is there's like little teeth on the clamps. I try to get the teeth, there's like little grooves and notches. You want to pick the clamp up so that it's on the very highest that it can go on the rail. Hands on, hand tight. I'll go to the last one on the end here. Alright, that's that. And now we don't want to crank anything down too far, but we do want to make sure that it's, you know, hand tight. That way we don't have a rail falling off while we're trying to adjust later on. So our gasket is slightly compressed. We can get the height where we want it. Make sure that our clamp is in the right groove, which it is. You just want to make sure that the clamp doesn't twist in those grooves, because that can actually cause it to kind of like shear off those teeth, and then it just doesn't fit right afterward. So be mindful of that when you're doing this. And now we're just going to do the same exact thing to the passenger side. So I'll go ahead and get that done off camera and then show you the final step when we put on the tarp itself. Alright guys, so I don't know if this is absolutely necessary, but I'm just going to do this anyway. I have both of the rails on, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a measurement just to see if I have these set to the same length. So I'm going to measure off the tailgate there right to the end of this like square cut on the rail, and we're about 67 3/4 there. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side here, just to see, so if I put this on, if it's actually going to close square. And 67 3/4 right on the nose, so that's staying right where it is. We can go ahead and crank this side down. I got that side snug down, this side snug down. Once we get the tarp on and it fits well, I'm going to go back and just give those a couple extra cranks just to make sure that it's nice and tight. But for right now, the directions do say to put on these blocks. There's these little blocks right here, and they like kind of put the adjustment on how tight the tarp is. They come with these little like pins that you snap in. So we'll go ahead and put these in now. I believe when the tarp is new, they recommend that you put them like middle of the road, like on 2, because it's numbered. There's 4 settings and they're all numbered. So I'm going to go ahead and see what they actually recommend, and then we'll go ahead and install them. Alright guys, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but there's 2 holes here, a rectangle and an oval. This one is where those adjustment blocks go. You want the 4 to be facing up, and you want the 2 and 3 to go down into the hole, and you want the 4 faced towards the cab. And it's very simple. You just take these little pins, and there's little holes on the blocks that you go ahead and slide it through. And now, according to the instructions, we can get our tarp set up. According to the instructions, there are end caps that we take off here. So we just go ahead, pop those off. We get our T-slotted bolt in there, and we can go ahead and pop this back on. It's like rubber, it's no big deal. One thing that I'm just noticing is that this tarp can actually like slide in the top rail here. I believe that's because You know, it's just extruded aluminum. All the companies and manufacturers use the same thing, and then they kind of just take the tarp and put like a rod in it and then slide it through the groove, and that's how the tarp stays on. So just make sure that you have it evenly spaced out, and that the tarp, you know, there's the same amount of overhang on one side and on the other of this rail here. And then this thing is ready to get flipped around and installed. Now this comes over here. There's the flap, and then these two hooks. Make sure that these two hooks are down, because they need to come out underneath so that they can come around and hook like so. And then you want to make sure that the bolts are somewhat lined up so that they can go into the groove. If it's not a huge deal. But then this weather stripping here sits on top of this. Once you have this on, it should be sitting in between these hard edges of the rails, and then you can go ahead and kind of just pull this back a little bit, and you want to make sure that the end of the rail here is touching those adjustment blocks that you put in, and then you can go ahead and install the nuts on there and tighten them down a little bit. I'm not going to tighten them down all the way, just in case I have to adjust the tension of the tarp. Alright, so if we did our job correctly, you see here, it's off to a bad start because it's not evenly spaced. As you can see, it's new. It is a bit snug on here. So the adjustment seems to be pretty good. It's like the perfect tension right there. And then let's see if we can close it with the tailgate shut. I don't think you're supposed to. I'm not really sure. The weather stripping touches perfect on both ends there. We should be able to there we go. It does shut. Nice. So the weather stripping shuts on top of the tailgate. In theory, the water runs off this way instead of getting trapped and going down, because if we were to go like this and put this in here, you see how it's behind the tailgate afterward, and then the water would run down into there. So it's better to go like this and then to go like that on top of it, and boom, that's the tonneau cover installed. Now we can go through, tighten up all the bolts, all the clamps, and call it a day, because that is perfect.